Hmm.
Anyway,
Did they
that's my excitement for the day.
did they come in and bomb it?
I don't know what they're going to do. I'm waiting to
That's my
see
excitement
sometimes
for
this
the what day.
afternoon.
I whoop, no, where you go? Uh I had that experience when I was going to clean someone's house to prepare it for when they came back to the Keys, and they
No
were in the
fun.
spice drawer, in the thoroughly in the spice drawer. And so I'm like, oh, they're everywhere. They're not just here, they're everywhere.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a pleasant experience whatsoever.
no,
And I went to the store and I just got a bunch of roach bombs and set them off, closed
yeah,
all the windows, set them off, and took care of it.
yeah.
They work pretty good. How was the cruise otherwise?
It was a lot of fun. I went with my son and his wife and their 5-year-old and
Oh,
her parents and a cousin. And anyway, there were 9 of us. And
wow.
What ship did you
what,
go on?
pardon?
What ship did you go on?
The Oasis of the Sea, Royal Caribbean.
Yes, wonderful.
And we really enjoyed Aruba. We didn't think we were going to make it back to the on time to the ship, but you're supposed to be there at 3:30 and we were like 3:45, but they let us on. Anyway, it was a lot of
What were you
fun.
doing that was so much fun in Aruba that it made you late?
Well, actually, what made us late is we stopped for lunch, and I don't know why it took them over an hour to fix like a tuna fish sandwich and a hot dog.
Because it's the Caribbean, it's island time.
Right.
I've never experienced any other kind of time on the islands.
Yeah.
Just a different beat. Well, I was hoping that we'd have some other folks pop in while we talked about your cruise, but they're not here yet, so we're going to go ahead and get started and hope they show up. I'm surprised Terry's not here because this was her topic. Morning. Unmute yourself, Joyce. Who's saying hi in the background? You were muted.
Oh, Linda Perloff.
Oh,
Hi,
hey,
Linda.
Linda.
Hi, I'm staying with Joyce. Hi,
Nice, nice. Good to see you.
good to see you all.
All right, so this week we are talking about maps and cookies. And I'm also kind of bummed that Martin's not here because I think he was interested in the whole cookie thing. So we'll see. While we wait for a few more people to come in, are there any burning issues that are keeping you all up at night that are tech
Yes,
related?
I have one. I have one.
Okay.
My, my new Google Pixel Gemini is giving me fits because apparently I set this alarm to have news come on and I don't even know how to turn it off. You know, when my alarm goes off, I was trying to set it so I could voice activate and say stop. Well, I didn't find that, and I still don't know where the voice activation is to set my alarm so I can say stop. You know, my other phone just it appeared and said, you can say stop, and I would say stop. And the alarm would stop. But this phone, I can't find it. And now I've accidentally set some news that goes on for 10 minutes and I can't even turn it off. Really? Oh my gosh, a new phone is just giving me fits. Oh, and Medina, should see
Yeah.
this picture of
She did see it. I
pardon?
sent it to her.
Oh, did you? Good. Okay.
I did. Yeah. It's adorable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my problem.
Okay. So, morning, John. Um, I have Gemini on my phone,
Yeah.
but
Do you have you set for that you can just voice command your alarm to go stop?
well, I no, because I don't use a Google alarm. I use a different app for my alarm,
Oh,
but which is always an
you
option.
don't, you don't use your phone
No, I
alarm?
use
Okay.
an app. I don't use the Google one. I use an app.
Okay.
This is a different
Oh,
app
okay.
for alarm, which I like
Well,
very
I
much.
might have to check it.
It's a real
Yeah.
simple design. There's not a lot of bells and whistles, so I don't turn it off
You know, it
with my
looks like this
voice.
meeting's being live streamed. It's not recorded.
That is exactly what we always do.
Oh, okay.
It's how YouTube does it. If I record it, it takes up a lot of space and then we all have to do something with it, but we can store it on
Oh,
YouTube.
I can't hear
And
you.
you can't hear
Betsy, are
me?
you talking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I don't hear you. That's weird.
Linda, can you hear me? She can
Oh,
hear me.
no, I can't hear you. I see your lips moving.
Everyone else can hear me.
What? I didn't touch anything.
Is your volume all the way up?
Is anybody else having trouble hearing her?
Someone else speak.
No.
Stop shaking
Oh
your
my
head. See
God.
if you can hear them.
Okay.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello,
Well, maybe
hello,
I'll get
hello,
on another
hello.
phone.
You
So don't
can't
talk to me.
you can't hear them either? Apparently not. Let me see.
There's a major problem if you can do something about it, because we all have it at some time or another. We don't touch anything, but some setting changes.
I contend that we actually do touch something and aren't aware of it. My my mother-in-law has very bad arthritis, and so her fingers don't go straight up and down like this anymore. They are way off to the side so that they're like, the ends are a different direction from where they begin. And she's constantly very angry at her phone because it's not doing what she wants it to do, not realizing that she's not actually touching it with the right part of her finger. The other thing that I've watched people do, and I'm not making light, I'm just saying that there are maybe other issues going on when we think we didn't touch it, is that I've watched, and I doubt anybody in this room does it, but I've watched people. Carlene says she can't hear anyone. Um, I've watched people actually try and use their fingernail instead of their finger pad. Um, and that doesn't work at all. You have to use the pad of your finger. And as we age, the sensitivity on our fingers decreases. And I don't know if anybody's noticed that, but people who have not been using cell phones a whole lot and definitely not touch screens. Carlene says she's going to switch devices. They will stab at it, really stab, 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 stab. And that's not what the pressure is intended to be. It's a light fingertip touch. I just touched one app and it just, very lightly and it opens up whatever it is I'm touching, it's opening up. So, knowing that maybe, and our fingers get fatter too because they get flatter. All right, there we go, Carlene. Can you hear me now?
I have a pen that I
Yeah.
use.
Go ahead and turn off that other one though, because now you have a terrible echo.
I was gonna say, I have a pen that has like a rubber tip on it.
Yes.
I use.
And how do you like that?
It seems to work pretty well.
It's a good size. It's got the exact amount of tactile drag on it, and it's probably much easier for you to use, to manipulate. So that's a great idea. I know when touchscreens first came out, lots and lots, they were everywhere, those pens, and then they kind of like went away. Like every time you went to, I don't know, not necessarily a bank, but an event or something, they'd give you a pen and it had one of those tips on the end, and then they kind of stopped sending those out and people weren't getting them, but I think that they're very useful. So good point, Betty. Um, as far as now that Carlene's back on, as far as her Gemini, so Gemini is the Google um, AI, and my phone, when I say Gemini, nothing happens, but when I say Google, things generally start to happen. It's going to start to think that I want something from Google, and it's going to, oh, and today you're not doing that. And so I can say, "Hey Google," and it will then pop up. And what pops up, and it starts reading everything that I'm saying because it's automatic. So my thought with the oh, look at that. It looked like it wanted to share the screen with you. I'm going to do that just in case it does work because I never saw that before. So, hey Google, can you there we go. Share screen with live. Turn up my volume before going live. Increase your volume and increasing volume.
I'm Gemini. We're about to go live, where you can explore complex topics or ideas just by talking. But before we get started, take a quick look at this important information.
Go live with Gemini. Tapping the live button turns on the mic. To turn off the mic, tap the hold or end buttons or say stop. Some features aren't available in live yet, and it says recordings of your interactions with live and content with you share are saved and processed by the Gemini apps, respecting others' privacy. Ask permission before recording or including them in a live chat. So then I can say okay, or I can say no thanks. And I just said no thanks. Um, my biggest problem with AI is not one that you probably are thinking is what you're concerned about, but it's environmental. I am highly, highly, highly disturbed by the amount of environmental destruction that AI is doing at its current stage. And I just lost his name. Oh, for heaven's sakes. John Ellison. John Ellison? Is it John Ellison? Who owns Oracle, just laid out the plan for, we've got AI, regular artificial intelligence. We've got one more level, kind of a midterm, and then there's a super intelligence where he believes that it's going to be able to do anything that do everything, including things that humans can't do. So that doesn't mean that it's artificial intelligence in terms of it's learned from humans. It sounds like it's something entirely different. That doesn't bother me. I mean, it bothers me, but that doesn't bother me nearly as much as what amount of water has to be used for any AI query. It's enormous. And the data centers that they're building. Hey guys, you're all smoky again. Welcome. Anyway, so that's why I'm really, really cautious about how much I use AI. And I try to back out from using it because, it's just kind of like, I'll bet there's not one person in this room who like turns the water on in their sink in their kitchen and then walks away and goes and does six other things, right? We were trained that water is precious. And, for those of us who don't live on a well, it costs. For those of us who live on a well, the cost is sometimes I've been alive when our well has gone dry because we were in a drought situation. And this was not California, this was Connecticut. And so our water tables are being sucked up by AI and data farms. And so that bothers me. So I'm trying to minimize my AI. That being said, that's why I use an alarm where when it starts to go off, I just have to tap it. It's a one finger touch and it goes off. Carlene, what I would recommend for you with it is to, instead of just saying stop, try saying, hey, Google, turn off the alarm.
Okay.
Because that's when I said that, it automatically started reading my words because my Google Assistant, and that's
Okay.
Google Assistant is the previous incarnation of kind of running your phone. And I'm looking for the icon right now. It's under Assistant and it looks
Right.
like that. And that's where you're going to find a lot of settings. Now, Google has tried to tell me, well, so yeah, so you have your choice, open with Gemini or switch to Google Assistant. And so,
Okay. Good.
what?
Good, I'll do that.
Yeah, so then try it, and you can switch to Active Assistant in settings.
Okay.
So that's one way to do it. And you know, the same with everybody else. If you have concerns about AI for whatever reason, look and see, you know, I read you that whole thing that Gemini said that as I talk to it, it's recording my conversation. And then what? Right? Because there's all the privacy concerns about it. So with the privacy concerns, um, is anything that we say recorded when we're around our phones? Everyone's had the weird sensation of, you know, shopping for something online, and then all of a sudden that's all you get is ads for that thing, whatever it is. Or when you look at a YouTube video and all of a sudden now you're seeing in your recommended feed videos of a similar nature. Happens all the time. In some ways, it's very handy. In other ways, it's very annoying. But either way, it is absolutely seeing what you're doing, what your interests are, and in the tech world, they see this as a very positive thing. Tech developers see this as a very positive thing because it means that it is serving the customer. You know, the customer was looking for a pair of white shoes, and now we're going to help that customer find white shoes. Here you go. Here's some more white shoes, you know. Terry.
I must have told this to you before, but for a long time I was looking for this particular purple backpack. And it had to be 5 years ago. And I mean, it's funny, it still comes up. I mean, it's still once in a while I'll come up, or if I was looking for a different backpack, and it is just so funny. And, but it's the way to the story, I was really looking, I had a backpack that I loved and I wanted to replace it. And it was, and I guess it's just very funny because I did find it that way. It was completely annoying and crazy, but you know, it was a store in Nebraska, a fishing store, whatever it was. It was something very strange that had that brand. But I mean,
That's funny.
it still, you know, comes back. And I think the one other thing is, I think I told Betsy the other day that I'd used AI to do something, at Gemini to do something. And when I copied it, it copied the whole page. Copied my question. So really, if you use it, look really carefully at what you are copying, what you're sharing, because it, you know, it was very embarrassing. Not to just know that I used AI, but that I didn't look at what I said, you know, what I sent out.
Yeah, yeah. So, very good case in point. So in that thing that I was reading to you from Gemini, there was a link to the privacy policy. And I'm not going to read that to you in class. But normally, if I were just reading that for myself, I would absolutely click that link and see, is this something I'm choosing to do? Remember that we are still usually, I can't verify always, but we are still usually given the choice to submit our information or not. And sometimes the cost of getting into something is submitting information. But you can choose not to use that and use an alternative. An example, a very simple, ridiculous example, is the difference between the alarm clocks. I don't use the Google alarm clock. I downloaded a different app. It's a very simple, very basic app that plays, you know, what I want it to play, and I can put music on it. And so that little clip of music is the music I choose, and that's how it opens, wakes me up in the morning, and that's, you know, all simple. I touch it, it stops, all good. So you can always find alternatives to something if it's not doing what you want it to do, or if you have concerns about it. That segues really nicely, and I appreciate the help with that, Carlene, into talking about cookies. because when Terry's backpack or, the pair of white shoes, um, when you go somewhere, now, if it's a new site that you've never been to, you're going to get that little pop-up. This site uses cookies. Sometimes you have an option to change the settings on the cookies. Sometimes you don't. If you don't, you always have the option not to go to that site. Remember that. So when you're annoyed that it's tracking you and following what you're doing and then giving you suggestions later on about stuff, remember you agreed because you got on there and you used their product, which is this free website which sells shoes, for instance. Dumb example. So you can go find another website that does allow you to change your preferences. Not all of them do. Some, I do a lot of camping, and so a lot of state parks do their reservation systems different ways. Some of them all go through a major reservation company called Reserve America, and that's all done by Reserve America. They basically gave up the information, and so then you want to go to that state park, and you have to do it through Reserve America, or you can make a phone call. Some of them will still let you make a phone call to make a reservation, but then you can't really look at the sites and see availability and all kinds of things like that. You have a lot more choices when you're looking at it online, but you are giving up. I'm looking for a site in a couple of weeks, and the Alabama state parks make you put in your zip code every single time you look at a different park. And so if I go back out and then go back to this same state park, even though it's this one system, the Alabama State Park system, I click, oh, okay, I want to check this park instead. It brings me back out, makes me put in my zip code. I put in my zip code about 13 times yesterday because it just kept, and I thought, that's interesting. It's not using cookies, because if it were using cookies, it would know who I was. I was already in the site. I didn't leave the site. I just went to a different location within the site. They don't use Reserve America. They use their own little quirky system. And so I found that interesting. I almost wanted cookies because it was annoying. Kept having to type in. Now my texting program and predictive languaging program did start to go, oh yeah, you want your zip code? And it'd just pop it up and I could hit enter. Saved me 4 keystrokes. But Terry.
Does it matter? Does any of it matter? Like John and I have a New Jersey number and he has a Philadelphia number we had the numbers from work forever, so kept them. And sometimes it matters. I'll get all kinds of political stuff from New Jersey or, even real estate or things like that.
Mhm.
But it doesn't even seem to matter anymore because I sign up for other things in Florida because I have a Florida address and zip code. I'm just curious if you know that, how much depends on your phone number. And
It more depends on your geolocation, your IP address, where you actually are when you're doing the searching, because that's part of, when you look into the depth. If you are going to connect, let's say you're going to connect a printer the old-fashioned way, like now they just kind of talk to each other and it's all pretty simple. But the old-fashioned way, it's going to say, put in the address of the computer that it's trying to talk to. That address, that's the same address that in crime shows, when they say, well, we found it, they're at this cafe, right? It's because that address is very specific to that computer at that location. So it's first driven by that. I think as you add data to something, then it's going to sort through that and go, oh, maybe this person is from there. But I think that phone numbers less and less because people move around so much that it no longer means, like it used to be, you could go, oh, well, I know exactly where you are because of your area code and then the first 3 digits, New York is 202-212, I believe.
Yeah,
New York
see, like
City.
the-
Yeah. I mean, I remember that from childhood. Landlines, of course. So you could identify because you know, be calling numbers with some frequency and you'd remember them or you'd see them on an ad on TV. So you know exactly where they are. But now so few people have landlines and it's all cell phones that, you know, you could be in Indonesia and be on your phone, you know? So it's I think that that's less of an indicator than the actual indicator of your computer.
Thank you. I just thinking about that, how I saw a friend this summer, and both of us were talking about numbers that we remember, and we both remembered each other's home phone because we talked to each other 10 times a day. And I said, the only reason I remember my own children's phones is because I've paid their bills for a long time. Like, you know what I mean? It was
Okay.
like, you know, I called them or called them from a landline still. But I just thought that was really funny. I remembered like the Maplewood Theater, like phone numbers that just were in your head because you talked to them so many
Yep.
times.
Yeah.
My brain's running out of room. I got to move some of those.
You can ditch those phone numbers. You're never going to use them. All right. So let's talk about that influence of the cookies. So, that's the tracking, and I'm sure you all know this. The anytime you go somewhere, it's going to track where you are. It can track your keystrokes. It can track exactly what you're typing in. It can obviously track how long you are. When you go to a website where it actually allows you to pick and choose what you want to do with cookies, you know, I always say only necessary because there are going to be some that you cannot turn off. The website won't work with without those. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to go to the website and you're letting me turn off the marketing cookies. I always turn off the functional cookies because I think about, okay, function. You've built a website that isn't going to work if you know, don't have these cookies that are checking on me. Let's see. And so I always turn off functional if it's an option, and it doesn't change how the website looks at all, not one bit. Um, Even when there's videos or, you know, things that are moving on it that I need to see, or, you know, things that have, you know, like a form I have to fill out. None of that changes when you take off functional. And so you've got and I'm drawn an absolute blank, so hopefully somebody else can come up with the third one. There's strictly necessary, there's functional, there's advertising, and then there's what's the word they use for it? Basically it's analyzing statistically people's traffic on there in order to help them improve. So if they have built this huge website and nobody goes to, I'll just take a state park thing, and nobody goes to the part about the hiking maps, then, or they don't spend very much time on the hiking maps, or they don't download the hiking maps as instructed, then that tells them that there's something wrong with how it's laid out, something wrong with how it's appealing to people or not appealing to people, or maybe people don't want this piece at all. And so maybe they need to change that. And so, and I forget the terminology that they use for it, but it's basically statistics on use while you're there. I turn that one off too, because literally they're asking me to do their work for them, right? Big companies, most places that have really well-developed websites have teams of people who that's their job to make sure everything works right, you know? And so I think that I don't need to help them. They're not paying me to help them with making their website better, so I'm not going to help them. So I turn it all off. And that does help and limits the number of kinds of junk that I get coming through the internet. And a lot of people tell me how much junk they get. And I'm like, why are you getting all that junk? And I think it's because of that. Now, there is a couple of things also that you can do to limit all of this. And one of them is using a site like DuckDuckGo. That is one. Does anybody in here use this? I think Joyce does. Yeah. Um, can you unmute and talk about why you changed for a minute?
Yeah, I got tired of if I went to look for something, I'd start getting pop-ups about similar things. And I had heard about DuckDuckGo, and since I've gone to DuckDuckGo, that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, because it doesn't track you. That's its whole selling point. That's its whole reason for existing. Now there are other ones, and have you tried any of the others?
I'm perfectly happy with DuckDuckGo.
Okay. I know
But I
that,
use Safari um as my default.
yes,
Because I have a lot of my stuff stored in Safari.
right.
So I will have to click an extra button to get to DuckDuckGo if I'm doing an actual search, but it's well worth it.
So there's no crossover between them.
I mean, you can use DuckDuckGo as your primary, but then in order to do that, you have to transfer all your information over to DuckDuckGo. And Safari works better with my computer, I think, for general
It's an Apple
the
you have
general
Apple
stuff, right?
products.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So like I use Safari to get to Constant Contact or to get to Zoom. But if I'm actually searching for something, then I go to DuckDuckGo.
Okay. Okay. The other ones, Brave is one that does not track you. Firefox I think, was one of the first ones that didn't track you. And some people use Firefox. DuckDuckGo and Tor, Tor, is another one that does not track you. So if that's annoying to you, and as Joyce said, she's very happy with what she's done, then you can switch browsers. If you don't take the effort to transfer everything over, then you will just be using two. And I think that's not a bad idea when you're just searching for stuff, Joyce, to just, oh, I want
Well,
to,
if I'm looking for something, I think Google comes up first, and into Google, I'll type up DuckDuckGo. Oh, what I have is when I click Safari, I have a bunch of things listed in Safari. Like I have Zoom listed in Safari.
Yep.
I've got DuckDuckGo in my Safaris. It's like they come up on the screen when I click Safari. I've got these things that I go to most of the time. And DuckDuckGo is one of them. So I'll click on DuckDuckGo and I'm off.
So I'm just,
Betsy,
I'm-
is this on a computer you're
Yeah.
speaking about?
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
phone or anything?
so I'm just thinking about this, Joyce, and I don't know the answer to it. I'm wondering if you're going to DuckDuckGo through Safari, are you still on one layer on Safari?
Well, I don't think I'm doing no, because I'm not doing my search through Google. Safari is like,
Yeah, but you can do your search through Safari. Safari does searches, right?
does it?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
all
yeah.
I know is by using DuckDuckGo, I no longer, if I'm looking for an airline, I can go to that airline and I will no longer for the next 3 weeks get advertisements about flying or traveling. So, it seems to work.
Okay, I'm going to so here's my thought. We're going to work through this and see if I can figure it out. So Joyce is opening up. So let's define first how we're doing what we're doing. We get on the internet through browsers, right? Browsers are what take us to the World Wide Web, the internet. And so when you get on a browser, you're getting on Google, you're getting on Safari, you're getting on Microsoft Edge, you're getting on DuckDuckGo, Brave, any of the other ones I mentioned. Those should be, and my understanding of how it works is, if we take it like a car, like the internet is a highway, right? It's big transportation of data all over the place. So we get in our car and we're going to get in. Joyce's primary model is a Safari. My primary model is a Google. I wish Amy was here. I think her primary model is DuckDuckGo. So that's the car we get into to get onto the highway. But now you're telling me that you're getting you have DuckDuckGo saved in Safari, so that means that you're still getting on
on
into the car
Safari.
that's Safari, and then you're getting into
No, that's not.
okay, I gotta change from cars to trains. On the train, you can sit in the coach, right, where everybody all sits together, or you can get in a little pod, right? You can have your own private room in a train. Terry knows all about this. And so you're in your own little pod within this train that's going somewhere, and so you're separate from everybody else, but you're still on the train. And so I'm wondering, because what I would have done and what I would suggest if, and it sounds like it's working for
Here's my
you.
question. If you're
Yeah.
looking up something, okay, you want to look up a train schedule. Do you look it up in Safari?
No, because I'm not an Apple person.
I
but
do, even.
I will go right here to Scott's, which was why I was opening it up so that I could take a look and see. Let me get out of that. I'm going to go to Safari.
I mean, if you want to find out what the capital of a country is, let's say,
Right.
do you go to Safari or do you go to
Yes.
Google?
You go to Safari if you're on an Apple product.
You're on an Apple product.
So I'm on his whoa. I'm on it. See, I touched it, Linda. All right, so I am on. Let me go back to Safari.
Oh, I'm
Let
gonna
me go to a different website. Okay. All right. I'm on Safari. I tapped the Safari logo and I'm on Safari. Here in Safari on his iPad, it took me to his Garmin watch thing. So I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to type in train schedule. I'm going to type in Amtrak train schedule so we can make this much simpler. I don't know what it's going to give me otherwise. Amtrak train schedule. Okay, so when I do that, what pops up, so I'm just in Safari. I typed in the address bar there, which is a search bar. I typed in Amtrak train schedule, and the first thing that pops up is time schedule. Train schedules and timetables for Amtrak. And so I tap on that. And as it's thinking about it, it brings me to the Amtrak website. Oh, good. Good, good, good. It also brought me a cookie bar. So it says this website uses cookies and other tracking technologies to enhance user experience and to analyze performance and traffic on our website. We share information about the use of our site with our social media, our advertising, and analytics partners. If you have detected an opt-out preference signal, then it will be honored. Further information is available in our cookie policy. I'm not going to read it now, but I have read cookie policies. It's fascinating. So now it says big button, which it wants you to do, is allow all. Below that, it says reject all, or it says customize settings. Now, if it gives me an option to reject all, I'm going to reject all. But because we're in class, I want to tap on customize settings. What it does is it brings me up a sidebar about the cookies. And notice they're all checked off as to be a positive response to their questions, which I can't read backwards, so I'm going to flip it around. So it says manage cookie preferences, strictly necessary, and that's the top one, always active. Okay, so the ones that obviously cookies are required for websites to run because that's always an option. The next one is targeting cookies. So I'm going to turn that one off. That's where you get the ads that keep coming up all the time. That targeting. Oh, she was looking at train schedules. Maybe now she needs a hotel. Maybe she needs a rent-a-car when she gets to her destination. Any of those things. That would be targeting. And they already said at the onset, I'm going to share this information with our partners. of all kinds, because that makes them money, right? So, you know, even if you don't buy a ticket, Amtrak is making money off of you not rejecting all these cookies because they're using your data and information and selling what they can, you know, and it might not be they're selling your username, website, your email address, and so forth. It may just be that someone from Western North Carolina is looking at train schedules, right? So there's different ways to slice all these cookies up, and it is not always as invasive as we think. It's never nefarious when it comes from a legitimate website, but it is always to err on the side of making money off of you, even if you don't spend a dime. You are a valuable commodity. So then the next one is performance cookies, and that is, how does this website perform in terms of, you know, speed, you know, performance? How is it interacting with you? Hey, Maria.
Well,
And then the next one is functional. Are these things going to function? When you click on pay now, is it going to bring up your shopping cart and actually allow you to pay? Is the drop down menus, when you select your address in your state, is that actually functioning? So are the nuts and bolts of it actually working? So those are, and you know what? You don't need a cookie for that. If it doesn't work, I'm not going to buy from you, or I'm not going to come back to this site or whatever. So now what I've done is I've turned them all off. The only one that's on there is strictly necessary. And then all the way down at the bottom, it says, again, it gives me a choice to allow all because it really wants you to do that, or confirm my choices. Notice the difference in how these are set up. Allow all is much easier to see. It's a big blue button at the bottom. If you're in a hurry, you might just click the big blue button instead of looking at that white one that's very tiny that says confirm my choices. So I'm going to click confirm my choices. Now I'm in Amtrak, and it's not tracking me other than strictly necessary cookies, but I am in Amtrak through Safari. I did the search through Safari. I'm in Safari. This is a Safari driven vehicle, train, so to speak. Now, if I do the same thing on Google, it's going to look the same. It's going to be coming from Google. If I use Microsoft Edge, my computer is a Microsoft product. It really wants me to use all Microsoft products all the time, and I have to do a little bit of extra work at the onset to reject that. There's still some operating systems. When I open my computer and I type in my passcode, it automatically, before I type in the passcode, there's this really pretty picture, and it says up at the corner, like what you see. And it used to say, and this is so fascinating to me, it used to say, like what you see, give me more, and the other one says, not a fan. And you could click one of those, and it would change the background wallpaper. So, you know, I would pick wallpapers, trying to train it to show me wallpapers every day that were more interesting to me. Then it changed the little box, and it didn't say, like what you see, it said, I'm a fan, tell me more. And so if you click that to try and train it that, yes, I like this kind of photo and not this kind of photo, it took you to the Bing website that was talking about with this location of wherever this thing was. And it's like, now I can't train it because I don't want to go to the Bing website to look and see what you're showing me. You're forcing me to use Bing just because I like a pretty picture. So kind of manipulative. So I don't click on them anymore, and I get whatever picture they give me and I deal with it, type in and move on. But I could download Edge, which came with the computer. I think I actually like pushed it off so it doesn't show up in my stuff at all. I put Google as a browser on my Microsoft computer. Those who own Apple products, you can use Safari, or you can ignore Safari, and you can get DuckDuckGo as a download on your computer and just use that. And I'm thinking, I just think that it would be a cleaner way to do it, Joyce.
Work as well because it didn't get my passwords as easily. I mean, I might have been able to spend a lot of time transfer. I had to transfer everything over. I said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That answers my question that I've been noodling through this whole time.
Okay,
So you are still on Safari.
I'm still on Safari, but I
still
go
on
to
Safari.
DuckDuckGo for specific.
Yeah, but you're not actually using DuckDuckGo as a browser. You're using DuckDuckGo as a filter. So there's a difference. And I just want to, there's nothing wrong with it. And
Yeah,
hear what you're saying. So let's just look for a second. I'm going to share the screen and go to do a search. So right here, if I type in DuckDuckGo, all I had to do is type duck. See how it's all listening to me? Okay, so if I go right here, now I have the option to search in DuckDuckGo, right? I can do a search right here.
right.
But what browser am I using?
Safari.
Oh, yeah.
I'm using Google.
So I'm using DuckDuckGo as a search engine, not as
Yes,
right, as a browser. Got it.
yes. So while you're there, I trust and believe that it is absolutely not tracking where you're going. But do you see the framework I'm in here? I'm in the Google framework.
Right.
Google absolutely knows where I'm going. If I go here and I go to my history, can you see this little pop down menu?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go to my history. I don't know where I've been this morning.
Search something in DuckDuckGo and see if it shows up in history, because that's the downside.
Okay.
It doesn't,
So-
I don't think it saves the history.
I do a different one. I'm going to do Amtrak vacations this time. Okay, Amtrak vacations, trains and rail packages, and America on sale, $600. Okay, so now I am going to go all the way back to DuckDuckGo to the beginning. And now I'm going to go to my history. Amtrak takes trains, vacation packages.
So it's there.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
because I'm not in DuckDuckGo. I'm in Google. I'm on the Google train and I'm in a pod in DuckDuckGo. So what my suggestion is, and I hear what you're saying because it is so convenient and so beautiful how our passwords are saved and all of that is so convenient and that's why I love Google because I'm lazy. But I have 470 something passwords now. They're all unique, they're all different, they're all very long and very complicated, and I don't have to do anything about them because my password manager through Google handles all of it for me. But here's my suggestion. Right here it says switch to DuckDuckGo. It's private and it's free. Make DuckDuckGo your default search engine, which I think probably you've done. But because within this right now, I can say my default is Bing. I can say it's DuckDuckGo. I can say it's Safari. I can say all kinds of search engines, Firefox and Brave and all of those. But that's just making it your search engine. But what's really private is your browser. So if I were to download the browser, and I'm just going to click it, I want to see if it's going to cost. And so it wants to install it. Open DuckDuckGo installer in downloads, select install, and that's it. It should launch automatically. Okay, it's not going to cost. Hide annoying cookie pop-ups, watch YouTube without targeted ads, hide your email address, search and privately block trackers. So, that and then what you would get, Joyce, when I go, let's see if I'm not sure if you can see, I'm gonna stop my desktop, stop that for a minute, go back in. Oh, see, it won't show my desktop, and I really, it is not an option. And this is one of the things I really don't like about Zoom is that it won't actually let me show you my desktop. On my desktop, well, let's see. Desktop is no different than my main screen on my phone. So let's just pretend this is a computer. Here's my desktop, right? Here's the icons of the various apps I have downloaded. So when I download a browser, like DuckDuckGo is suggesting, it's going to show up like this. It's going to be an icon on your desktop. And so when you want to go to the internet and just do a search, I would not, if I were trying to do a private search, I wouldn't search through Safari to go to DuckDuckGo as a search engine because it obviously shows up in my history. Yep, there you got it.
Mhm.
But on your computer, you're not doing it that way. So my suggestion is download the browser, and then rather than opening up Safari and then going to DuckDuckGo as a saved tab, just open up the browser called DuckDuckGo. That's going to be much more secure. Now, Joyce is nodding her head. She understands what I'm talking about. Did I lose anybody along the way? Did any of this make sense?
Made a lot of sense.
Okay. So, and the other, Linda, unmute yourself.
Question, but when you talk about using Google, is that the same as using Chrome?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Good question. Same company, same thing, and it's interactive. And again, that's why I love using Google, because my passwords and my data and everything is seamless. If I go to this thing, or my own tablet, not the Apple one, but my Google Pixel tablet, what I did in one happened in the other, and it's all synced and it's all talking to each other, and I can be anywhere and find something else I was working on. That's the benefit of having all of that connectivity. The downside is that, yes, it's not 100% private. Now, in Google, I can go to incognito mode. Incognito mode supposedly is more private. However, it's not entirely private. So when I go to incognito mode on my phone, if I open this up, it's going to give me a notification. And it says you've gone incognito. Others who use this device won't see your activity, so you can browse more privately. This won't change how data is collected by websites you visit and the services they use, including Google, downloads, bookmarks, and reading list items will be saved. Google won't save your browsing history, cookies and site data, information entered in forms. Your activity may still be visible to the websites you visit, your employer or your school, and your internet service provider. And then there's a button for learn more. And then it says third-party cookies are blocked. When you're in incognito mode, sites can't use third-party cookies. If a site relies on those cookies and isn't working, you can try giving that site temporary access to third-party cookies. So
Betsy, I do have a question when you get a chance.
yeah, is it
So
related to that?
Well, it's related to the browser search engine. I thought browsers and search engines were the same thing.
No, they can
Okay.
be. They can be. A browser is the big vehicle that takes you to the internet. The search engine does one specific function in that. Browsers are kind of like hold it all together. They're the framework, whereas the search engine is just taking you somewhere. Once you've gone to a website, then the browser is what's giving you that access to the website?
Oh, okay.
That's a great question. So after reading, and I've read that incognito statement many times, after reading that, it seems like you could also just go to incognito mode in Google if you're a Google fan, if you want stuff to be less private. I mean, more private. Medina,
How do you get to incognito mode?
we're going to go there. So when I go up here to my three dots up in the upper right-hand corner,
Right?
go to my three, new incognito mode right there.
Oh,
When I click on that, it opens up a new screen. It has a very, very different look because it wants me to know for sure where I am, and I'm in an incognito mode. And so there's all of that stuff that I was reading to you.
Turn right, then turn right.
Somebody's driving. So, and there's the learn more, and there's the giving temporary access. So I want to talk about that. And so now notice, let's say, I'm going to go back. I'm going to close this one. So notice that this was a different layer. Can you see the DuckDuckGo site now?
yes.
Okay. So those are layers, right? Those are a different window. These are tabs up at the top, DuckDuckGo, and Gmails, post attendees Zoom. These are all tabs. I can open up a new tab and search for something here. I can have tons of tabs open up. Or I can open up something in a new window. So let's say I go to DuckDuckGo. I'm sorry, let me go back. I'm going to do my search again through Google. So I'm doing a Google search and I'm searching for DuckDuckGo. I go here and now instead of just clicking it, I'm going to right click it and I have an option to open it in a new tab, which opens automatically. Or I can open the link in a new window, or I can open the link in an incognito window. So I open it in incognito. Now notice I've got this black background. I'm in incognito. It shows me right here in the upper right-hand corner, I'm in incognito, which means that if I'm doing a search for something, I'm in a incognito, which comes with all of the privacy and protections that Google gives me through incognito. And DuckDuckGo is going to give me privacy. And so now I'm going to put in Amtrak.
We don't see that. You said there's a black window.
Oh, you can't see that.
No.
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Okay, let me stop the share. Let's come back to it. Yeah, that's Zoom telling me you can only do one thing at a time. Okay, so now I'm in incognito mode, right? You can see it in the upper right-hand corner. It's black up here, so there's my incognito. Now I'm
Yeah.
going to do an Amtrak, and I'm going to do a different search so that I know it's something that I haven't looked for before, and I'm going to see Amtrak Acela train. Okay, and so then I'm going to look for that. Okay, right now, DuckDuckGo is, can you see this pop up?
Yes.
Upgrade to our browser. It's wanting me to go there. Okay, clear your cookies off and try our homepage that never shows these messages. So it's saying, you know, it's literally telling me I'm still browsing through something besides DuckDuckGo. I'm browsing through Google incognito mode. So now I'm on the Acela train and I'm going to click on that. Okay, now, okay, I've been there. Now here comes a cookie message. Okay, even though I'm in DuckDuckGo, I still get this cookie message. We already read the cookie message, so I'm just going to say reject all. Thank you, Amtrak, for giving me that option. Okay, so now I'm going to get out of this entirely. I'm going to close this. I'm not sure what y'all are going to see. All right, screen sharing is stopped because the window closed. Great, okay. Now we're going to go back to Google and see, did Google track that? So we're going to go up here to my history and click on history, and I've got nothing. I've got the stuff I did through Google before, but I do not have the history of the incognito mode. So That's one way you can do it. If you are a Google user and you want to protect your stuff more, you can do your stuff through incognito mode. Linda.
Subject, but in using the password keeper, how then can I pass my passwords on to my son who needs to have my information if something were to happen to me?
Will you use Google, right?
Yes.
And you set him up as your legacy contact?
Is that the way to do it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
You will get total access. We will look at that next week just to clarify for everybody.
Okay.
Legacy contacts. So we didn't get into, we got in basically today into browsing and how it works, how to be more private with your browsing. There's one more option, which we ran out of time for today. And that final option is in your settings. And so we're going to look at the settings for the cookies next week so that, and I suspect that's why I also don't get a lot of junk, because I have those fairly tight as well, meaning that I have cookie blockers, ad blockers used. Now, sometimes those don't work because I'll get to a site and it'll say, ooh, you can't do this thing you want to do because you've got a cookie blocker or an ad blocker on. And so you need to go into your settings, unblock us, and then we can work with you. I'm working a volunteer thing for the animal shelter. And somebody's putting on this big event and they want volunteers to sign up for what shift they want. And they're using a program that's very specific. You have to allow their site to work through your ad blocker. And so I had to go into settings. I had to take their website address, put it in allowed sites so that it wouldn't be blocked. And then I could do what I needed to do to sign up for the shifts. So that's another whole layer. So we're going to next week talk about that. And we're going to talk about legacy contacts. And then the last thing that I need to share, let me go to it because I have been asked by the board of directors at Joy. They want everybody to know that Joy classes are all free to everyone, and that Joy is completely supported by donations, and that they appreciate whatever contributions people are able to make to keep the program going. You can ask Maria Uribe, the program coordinator, where to send it. You can also just go to the website and make a donation right from there. Also, we welcome volunteers of all kinds to the free programming. So you have a skill, an interest, something that you'd like to share with others and can do that. They're always looking for new ideas. And so you can also just ask Maria how to get involved that way. And obviously, you don't have to live in the Keys to do it. You can be anywhere if you're doing a class that works for online. Book club is also an online one. There's all kinds of ways that you can participate, and Joy loves when the members are participating and also donating. Thank you all very much. I will see you next week. Have a great fall week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.